Hello, everyone, and welcome to another action-packed episode of the OverMark Podcast. We're your hosts, Dave and TJ. Today, we're going to be talking to you about SmackDown from May 9th of 2025 and Backlash from last night, May 11th of 2025. Give us a follow on all of our socials at OverMarkENT. If you're unsure where to find it, click the link tree on our profile wherever you're listening to us at. And with that, we're going to get into SmackDown a little bit here. And it had an attendance of 9,878, a setup of 10,119 with 241 available tickets. It was a near sellout in the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. And for the opening segment, we're going to toss it on over to TJ, and he's going to lead us in.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I hope you had a good weekend. There's a lot of wrestling this week. 5 days that we watched. I'm sure we could have watched 7 if we really were up to it. But
oh yeah,
we'll jump in. Little backstage tension with Damon Priest, LA Knight, and Byron Saxton. SmackDown opens up with Priest walking backstage, and Byron Saxton stops him for comments about his Fatal 4-Way match at Backlash. LA Knight interrupts. LA Knight says that they need to trust each other tonight, and he tells Priest, "You got my back, I got yours." Then calls for his music. We got the match after this, which is a tag team match. Damon Priest and LA Knight for Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. LA Knight's music plays as he heads to the ring. Priest and Knight argue over who will start the match. Solo attacks Priest while LA Knight gets on the apron. Solo lands right hands, but Priest counters with kicks and a forearm. Priest walks to the top rope and hits a crossbody on Solo. Solo avoids a clothesline and rolls out of the ring. Priest follows with a double axe handle off the steel steps. Fatu confronts Priest, but LA Knight knocks Fatu down with a baseball slide, and Solo knocks LA Knight off the apron. Priest drops Solo and looks to tag, but LA Knight is down outside. Solo hits a Samoan drop on Priest. Fatu tags in and hits a senton. Priest is down in the corner. Fatu hits a running hip attack. Solo tags back in and goes for another hip attack, but Priest counters with a spinning heel kick. LA Knight and Fatu are both tagged in. Knight unloads with right hands and hits a Russian leg sweep. He lands a jumping neck breaker and a body slam. Knight follows with a jumping elbow drop. Fatu gets back up, but LA Knight slams him again. Knight climbs the second rope and goes for a leaping elbow, but Priest tags himself in. LA Knight looks shocked. Priest hits a clothesline on Fatu. Priest sets up a choke slam, but Knight tags himself back in. Solo tags in and shoves Knight into Priest. Solo goes for the Samoan spike, but Knight ducks and hits the BFT. LA Knight covers Solo and gets the pinfall. So the finish was LA Knight hitting the BFT on Solo, scoring the pin. Priest and Knight win. And then post-match segment, Chaos and Claymore. After the match, Priest and LA Knight are in the ring. Priest attacks Knight with right hands. Jacob Fatu runs in and attacks both men, finishing with a running hip attack. Fatu holds up the United States Championship, and then Drew McIntyre enters and hits a Claymore on Fatu. Drew tosses a title onto Fatu and exits the ring. So, not a bad little segment, match. I liked it. You know, all these guys are good. The crowd was really into it. I mean, nothing too crazy to go on here. What'd you think, Dave?
Well, it basically got us everybody where they needed to be to get ready for the pay-per-view or PLE. I'm old. I keep calling them pay-per-views. They haven't been that for a while, I know. LA Knight is super over with the crowd.
Yeah, he is.
It feels like every show that he's on, they're just losing their minds. So we'll probably see him once after this year, we'll probably see him elevated into the main event scene more again, back where he was like in 2022. Yeah. Not a bad match, though. Nobody did anything egregiously offensive or bad. And from there, we'll move on to the next segment, which was they show the outside of the arena, and R-Truth's outside with a "Let's Go Cena" sign. And Big Jim walks up and asks him what he's doing. And R-Truth excitedly says, "John Cena is in the building tonight." And Jimmy looks visibly disappointed and walks away without saying a word. Pretty goofy little segments that they've been doing with Cena and Truth, but you know, you and I keep saying that we feel like it's leading up to something. What do you think of all this little stuff here?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it for a reason. They usually don't toss anybody, especially in like a backstage segment, without a reason. R-Truth's funny. He's just the guy that won't go away. He's definitely carved a little forever spot for himself as long as he wants to do that over there. But it's funny, and
Yeah.
it's nice. Like they don't have a lot for Big Jim, so cool seeing him mixed up a little bit. But we can jump into the next one with the backstage interview, Drew McIntyre. So we got Drew McIntyre here with Byron Saxton, and he strops Drew McIntyre following his claymore on Jacob Fatu. Drew says what he did was a message to Jacob Fatu, calling him a werewolf who just got hit with a silver bullet. He questions why Damon Priest is in the Backlash title match, and Drew reminds everyone that he beat Priest at WrestleMania, yet Priest keeps getting opportunities. He calls it BS and says Fatu is the baddest yard in the dog. Is that mixed up? But which is why
I don't
went
know.
after him.
That's either messed up or he is messed up.
Yeah, but Drew says once he wins, he'll become a Grand Slam champion. He says he ends by saying all gas and brakes works until you get hit by a brick wall, and that brick wall is the new United States champion, Drew McIntyre. But no, it's not a bad little segment. Nothing to really say. These guys all do their stuff well. So we'll just go ahead and move on if you don't have anything to add, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty good promo. This is a textbook what you want to see leading into a PLE promo-wise. There was something else that I wanted to say about it, but I can't remember now, so fuck it. Let's move on. Early in the day, in Nick Aldis's office, there's a pre-tape segment showing Chelsea Green and the Secret Service mourning backstage. Nick Aldis and Zelina Vega interrupt them, and Aldis questions what they're doing. Zelina calls the scene pathetic, and Chelsea fires back that she doesn't understand because she has no girlfriends, and Zelina responds by challenging Chelsea to a tag team match later tonight. Oof. I mean, I don't hate Chelsea. I don't hate Zelina. I could probably do without the hangers on, but at least, I guess maybe they got some kind of plans for them eventually. I don't know. What do you think of this amalgamation of people?
Nick Aldis is you can buy him he does a really good job as a GM. He's all serious and
great authority
Zelina
figure.
Vega's all right. But I don't know, the Hervis chicks kind of stink, and Chelsea Green doesn't really need those chicks to be around her.
Nope.
Piper Niven's is not very good in anything she does, and kind of stinks, seeing her just kind of being there when there's plenty of other women that could probably be doing a better job in pretty much every aspect. But we'll jump into it. I mean, so far the show's just kind of like, so, nothing crazy. Just
paint by numbers
Yeah.
kind of episode before the pay-per-view.
Yeah. And then we got a pre-tape promo after that with Aleister Black talking. He says he found the truth and returned because he believes he is the consequences this company needs. Black says he is more than a man who whispers in shadows and that his purpose is bigger than the good versus evil. He claims he's here to confront you both physically and mentally. Addressing Carmelo Hayes, he cryptically says, I haven't figured you out yet, or have I? It's all right. It's kind of funny that they're like any Vega segment and a Black segment seem to be going they're right by each other on the show since he's been back.
That does keep happening the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's like they're saying oh no, we only want to work together, then we're getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But no,
maybe though.
Yeah, I mean, Aleister Black's good. He's really good at delivering these kind of promos, and they it's kind of typical he'd be going against The Miz. Nothing The Miz really does is bad. He's, I guess, a barometer. You work with him and see what the reactions are like, but it's been good so far.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying all the stuff that he does. I was a fan of his stuff even in AEW, even when they weren't doing that much with him.
The whole time,
everything that he, yeah. What were you gonna say?
I said the whole time. You mean?
Yeah, the whole time. Yeah, he did the best he could with what he had available to him. I didn't hate his group,
they did do some okay stuff with him here and there. They had the little trio stuff, but even when they had the belt stays, it barely used them. But There was a small period when he first came in where it seemed like they were up kind of pushing him as maybe a top guy, but it didn't last very long.
No, that stuff with him and Cody was really good. I think Cody pushed for that, and that's a big part of why that happened. But anyway,
take us on to the next one.
Yeah, so we get a tag team match featuring Zelina Vega and a mystery partner versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And we come to the back from the promo, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven are already in the ring, jobbed out with no television entrance on a 3-hour television show. Chelsea Green kind of deserves better than that, I think. And then Zelina Vega makes her entrance and introduces her surprise tag team partner, who gets a pretty good pop, Alexa Bliss. And the crowd was really hyped for this. And I was surprised a friend of ours didn't message me when he saw that, but then it turned out he was watching it in the middle of the night, and that's why he didn't. But anyway, the match begins with Vega and Niven. Vega hits a crossbody, but is caught and slammed by Niven. The size, there's such a size difference here. They're working big, small. Chelsea tags in and misses a splash. Vega dodges and trips her onto the ropes. Niven enters and is tripped as well, landing next to Chelsea, and Vega hits a double 619, and I can't remember what they said in commentary, but it was something that made me laugh. She goes for a cover on Chelsea, but Chelsea kicks out. Chelsea trips Vega and tags in Niven, who lands an elbow. Vega hits a DDT on Niven and tags in Bliss. The crowd loses their mind as soon as she gets into the ring. Bliss enters hot and with right hands and a head scissors takeover, followed by a blockbuster for a near fall. Shout out to our boy Buff and the blockbuster. Chelsea tries to fight back with a back elbow and climbs the ropes. Bliss counters by tripping her into a tree of woe, then follows with a drop kick. That's always a pretty sweet move. Not the the tree of woe drop kick combination. Anyway, Bliss hits a twisted Bliss, but Niven breaks up the pin. And I think I called her Blizz and not Bliss there.
Yeah, it'll work.
That was cool. Whatever. And that's because we played Blizzard video games, so it's just burned into my mind more than Bliss is. Vega hits the ring and goes for a code red, but Niven blocks it. Bliss kicks Niven. Vega follows the code red to send her outside. Vega hits the Meteora on Niven outside. Chelsea grabs Bliss for Unprettier, but Bliss counters into a Sister Abigail. Bliss covers and scores the pinfall. The finish is Alexa Bliss reverses the Unprettier into the Sister Abigail for the pinfall. Probably didn't need to repeat that there, even though it was listed twice. The result is Zelina Vega and Alexa Bliss win to a pretty good crowd reaction and a not terrible match, but they got 3 hours of TV, so they had to fill it a bit here with some of this. What did you think of all this, TJ?
I mean, I don't think there's really much to think about it. Alexa Bliss got a pretty good reaction, but it was a ladies tag match on SmackDown. That pretty much tells you everything you need to know about it, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that they can't be good, but this one was definitely on par per the usual, I would say. Right?
That's an accurate description.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you take us into the next part?
Backstage segment with Escobar's coming in or whatever. Man, this guy's he's got that tattoo with like the claw or whatever. That's about the only thing with him that sticks out to me. I'm not mixing him up right. That's the guy, correct?
I think that's one of the guys. I think
it's like,
I honestly they're interchangeable to me. I don't know which one of the three is which.
But anyways, we got Rey Fenix, Santos, Berto, Angel, and Andrade. Rey Fenix is shown walking backstage when he's stopped by Santos Escobar. Fenix tells Escobar that he's beat him last week and says it's over. There's no conversation. Escobar replies that he knows, but that he has one thing to say. He leans in and quietly asks, who said anything about a conversation? Suddenly, Berto and Angel ambush Fenix from behind. WWE officials rush in, along with Andrade, to break up the attack. Not much to really say there again. Just they're kind of setting stuff up, right?
Yep.
And then we'll go to this arrival segment here. The Queen returns. We got Charlotte pulling up in a black SUV, pulling in the arena. The door opens and Charlotte Flair steps out, signaling her return to WWE television. Charlotte comes in with her in-ring promo. Her music hits. She walks in. The crowd boos, and she declares, "Your queen has arrived." She says she's coming off the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history, and credits Tiffany Stratton for pushing her. No chance. Nobody bought that. She didn't even believe it. I know she has to do her little heel stuff, but not even close, right?
Yeah.
Flair reminds fans that she was out nearly 2 years with a career-threatening knee injury and still pushed the champion to her limit. A photo of Stratton looking battered at WrestleMania appears on screen. Flair says she enjoyed her WrestleMania moment and now announces her path back to the WWE Women's Championship. Fans boo, and she questions her disrespect. Flair calls herself the GOAT of women's wrestling, the greatest of all time. As boos grow louder, she threatens to leave and never return. The crowd cheers at the idea, which frustrates her. She gives them one more chance.
Hell yeah, they did.
Yeah, but boos continue. Flair slams the microphone and exits the ring. It was kind of fucked up. Before we move on from that, like, she was like, "Why do you guys not like me? What is it? Seriously?" It's like, I don't know. She just, the way that she talks doesn't click, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's robotic. It's prepared.
Not natural.
Yeah, she doesn't feel it, and if she doesn't feel it, why would we, right?
Yeah.
But got anything to add to that?
Ooh, just was glad that it ended, and actually it didn't quite end though, because
yeah, we got Jade
the next part happens. Yeah, she exits as she's exiting the ring. The lights go out and Jade Cargill's music hits, and she makes her way to the ring. Jade and Charlotte, Charlotte. I almost called her Scarlett for some reason. Meet face to face on the ramp and stare each other down. Charlotte walks to the back. Jade enters the ring and calls out, "Flair, wait! You had your chance. Now head to the back of the line." Charlotte turns and glares at Jade, then heads to the back without responding. And that's something. That's sure something. And then we'll keep going because this takes us all the way to the match. Then she gets backstage and she confronts Nick Aldis, and she's seen arguing with Nick Aldis on the screen there, and she's saying that she helped build the division and demands more respect. Aldis tells her she can't just throw a temper tantrum every time things don't go her way. She storms off and tells her driver to take her to the airport. As she opens the car door, Alexa Bliss is inside stopping her, and Bliss tells her, "We need to have a chat," and the segment cuts back to the ring. So I guess they're setting up a match between her and Alexa Bliss. I don't know. It looks like they're setting up a lot of things here. Potential thing with Cargill and a potential thing with Bliss. What do you think of all this stuff while they still have Jade Cargill standing in the ring waiting for this next match to start?
I don't know. Not too excited about it. Bliss is all right, and Charlotte's good enough, but I don't know. It's just what's there to say about it, and what's there to look forward to? I mean, we'll see. Hopefully they surprise me, but I don't know.
The match will have good crowd reactions because the crowd likes Bliss and they do not like Charlotte, so there'll be a good crowd dynamic for that. So that's something that we could look forward to at least.
I don't feel like Bliss has like that great of matches.
No,
but
people like her though.
Yeah. I mean, I like her too. She's all right, I guess. I never, I wasn't watching when they were doing the Fiend thing, so I don't really know anything about her current character. Beyond like maybe that time she vomited out like black ooze, but
oh no.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I guess we'll move on, and it's kind of like ironic because we got another type of ooze coming out here.
Shit.
We got Jade Cargill, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Naomi. Jade Cargill's already in the ring, and Nia Jax makes her entrance. Like in Jurassic Park where they got the water glass.
Yep.
Followed by the WWE.
She's hitting us with the T-Rex.
Yeah, champion Tiffany Stratton, who appears just before the match begins. So we got this match, number one contenders match, Cargill versus Jax. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's like they stuck two of the worst women in the fucking in the company together. And the bell rings and Nia immediately hits a shoulder tackle on Jade. Nia follows with a corner splash, but Jade fights back with forearms and a shoulder tackle of her own. Jade tries to lift Nia, but is countered into a Samoan drop. Nia lands a leg drop and covers, but Jade kicks out. Then we go to commercial, come back. Jade hits a Samoan drop and a suplex and hits a super kick and a spine buster for a near fall. Nia catches Jade's kick, lands a power bomb, but Jade attacks again. Nia climbs the second rope, and Jade kicks her in the face and tosses her off. Jade climbs the top rope and hits a frog splash for another near fall. Jade tries to lift Nia again, but Nia nails her with the right hand and throws her into the corner. Nia goes for another splash, but Jade hits a pump kick and covers Nia, and she kicks out. Interference. Naomi runs down and throws Tiffany Stratton into the steel ropes, distracting Jade. Nia takes advantage with a headbutt, then a senton. Yeah, those headbutts look fucking terrible. And finishes Jade with the Annihilator for the win. Results, Nia Jax wins. She hits Annihilator after interference from Naomi, which distracted her, and that's how she won. I was just going through that. I kind of spaced out during this match. It wasn't.
I kind of spaced out while you were talking about it.
Yeah, it wasn't anything special. Just it happened, and let's just hope we don't have to see too much of this, and let's hope a couple years down the line, maybe we don't have to see any of these two women at all, because they're just a fucking complete void of entertainment and charisma, and I really don't need to see any of them ever again. And you just want to go ahead and move on?
Well, real quick, it's like we talk about with Collision. If anybody listened to our last Collision episode, me and TJ were going on about how, this was a painful episode to watch, and it's even more painful to talk about. That applies to matches like this, too. Oh, man. But, yeah. So we get to a backstage segment with from the out of the frying pan and into the fire, I guess, here. We had Street Profits backstage with Michin and B-Fab. I can't believe B-Fab is still a thing, but here we are. The Street Profits are seen walking backstage and are stopped by Michin and B-Fab. They congratulate them on their recent momentum. Montez Ford responds confidently, saying, hurt or not, they're going to put everyone on notice. The Profits walk off, keeping their intensity high. And then we come back from a break to see that we're going to be having a tag team match of the Street Profits and Fraxum. And this is another one of those, I don't hate these Fraxum guys, but I feel like I'm watching an AEW Collision match every time that they're on, and it's just painful to watch, painful to talk about. But so I'm gonna at least do my part and get through this quickly. Maybe TJ has a higher opinion. The match is in progress with Fraxum double teaming Montez Ford. Angelo Dawkins tags in. He's got heavily taped elbow and knee. Fraser hits a drop kick and a headlock takedown. I don't know why I couldn't say that word. Dawkins counters with a spinning back elbow, sending Fraser to the outside. Dawkins throws Fraser into the announce table. Axum rolls Fraser back into the ring. Ford, with his taped ribs, tags in and kicks Fraser. Ford goes for the cover, but Fraser kicks out. Dawkins tags back in, and they double team Fraser. Fraser kicks Dawkins in the head and tags in Axum. Axum and Fraser double team Dawkins and throw him outside. Ford runs in, but he's tossed out too. Fraxum hits double suicide dives on the Street Profits. We are mid-match here. Dawkins lifts and slams Fraser in the center of the ring. Axum and Ford are tagged in at the same time. Ford knocks Fraser to the apron, hits a clothesline and a back suplex, followed by a standing moonsault. It's a nice little series of moves and events there. He covers Axum, but it's a kick out. Axum is sent into the ropes. Fraser tags in and rolls up Ford, but Ford kicks out. Ford counters with a super kick. Ford climbs up top, but Fraser kicks him in the head. This match feels like it's going on forever, but we're getting there. Ford climbs to the top. Oh, I said that part already. Fraser leaps up. Dawkins tags in midair. Electric chair from Dawkins plus top rope blockbuster from Ford equals a super doomsday blockbuster. It's actually a pretty nice move. Dawkins covers, but Axum breaks it up. Axum tries to grab Ford on the apron, but gets kicked in the head. Ford jumps onto the top rope, but Axum kicks the ropes, stunning Ford. Dawkins. He's a dog. Dawkins kicks at Axum. There's too many names and different things. Fraser throws Dawkins to the outside and goes for a suicide dive, but Dawkins punches in midair. Dawkins climbs the ropes. Fraser hits a right hand. Axum tags in and hits a pretty nice Spanish fly. Fraser follows with a Phoenix splash and covers, but Ford breaks it up. That was a nice move too. For the finish here, Ford tags in. Dawkins hits a spine buster on Fraser. Dawkins goes outside, but Axum hits the golden ratio on him. Ford climbs for a fog splash. Fraser moves. Axum tags in, hits a drop kick as Fraser trips Ford. The Catapulta Infernal. Axum covers, gets the pin. Fraxum wins the match. Both teams shake hands and hug. Fraxum wins. And yeah, I'm glad that that's over. What did you think of all of that?
I don't know. It was okay. It was a good match. It feels like this is like the AEW segment of SmackDown every week, right?
Yes.
Like it's literally just like a match that would be in AEW. A lot of high spots, a lot of kicking out of some high spot stuff, fast pace, not as much selling as usual. I'm not shitting on it. It was a good match, and all these guys can do good stuff. And you could tell like when Axiom and Frazier came in that they were going to end up being pushed up the division pretty quickly. And there's not a lot of guys in it. I'm not, I'm not crazy about them, but I'm not going to shit on them either. They're good for what they do. It was a decent enough match. Just kind of more the same. This is just an okay episode so far, and nothing's blowing me out of the water. We can move on. We got a backstage with The Miz and Carmelo. The Miz meets Carmelo Hayes backstage and gives him a pep talk. Miz says tonight it's all about Hayes and proving that he belongs at the top. He calls Hayes the 10th momentum of the world. Miz says he'll guide Hayes. Monument. Man, I'm doing great. Miz says that
that's okay.
he'll guide Hayes of where he wants to get the job done. He finishes by saying, "Mello don't Miz, and together we are Oz him." Yeah, that's not good. Hayes,
terrible fucking catchphrase.
He nods in confidence as they walk off. So Carmelo Hayes with The Miz and Aleister Black opening sequence. The bell rings and Black opens with a headlock takedown. Hayes escapes and hits the ropes, going for a springboard crossbody, but Black moves and sits cross-legged on the mat. Hayes gets back up and lands kicks, but Black counters with his own strikes, knocking Hayes to the outside. Then Black hits a springboard moonsault to the outside onto Hayes. Mid-match action. Black goes for a kick ringside, but Hayes dodges and responds with a drop kick, sending Black into the timekeeper's area. Back into the ring, Black lands a leaping knee to the face, and then both men are down. They trade punches as they get to their feet. Black unleashes a fury of punches and kicks and knees to the head, followed by a springboard moonsault. He covers Hayes, and Hayes backs out. Black lifts Hayes, but Hayes lands on his feet and hits a super kick. Hayes goes for a follow-up, but Black counters with a brainbuster for another near fall. We go to the finish here, and the Miz jumps on the ring apron to encourage Hayes. Hayes throws a right hand, but Black ducks, and Hayes accidentally knocks Miz off the apron. Black uses the opening to roll up Hayes for the pinfall victory. The Miz enters the ring furious afterwards, and then Aleister Black hits him with the Black Mass. Black exits the ring and sits cross-legged on the ramp, staring back at Hayes as Hayes looks on in frustration. It was okay. Just more of the same. Just average SmackDown match, average SmackDown shit.
Yeah, I like to see Aleister getting TV time. It's good to see him back. Both of these guys work a pretty good match. Probably one of the better matches so far of the evening.
Yeah, I'd say so. Aleister Black's really good. But we can go ahead and jump to the next one if you want.
Oh, yeah. Well, we get a backstage segment with Fraxum, more of these guys, with Motor City Machine Guns and DIY. Fraxum are shown backstage celebrating their big win. They're approached by the Motor City Machine Guns, who congratulate them on their victory. Suddenly, DIY jump both teams from behind. After the assault, DIY leans down and tells Fraxum that they only won because the Street Profits weren't fully fit after their brutal TLC match. DIY walk off, leaving chaos behind as the officials come in to check on both teams. Okay, that happened. Not much to say about it. Do you have anything to add on that one, or would you like to just move on?
Best match I've ever seen. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Fucking
better than the Boiler Room Brawl.
Yeah, everything about it was just, top of the line shit, and I couldn't believe it.
Sorry, I just got distracted by the pay-per-view on TV.
I'm kidding.
Oof. No, that's
obviously wasn't even a
good
match.
way to describe it. No. So then, speaking of matches, though, after that segment, we got a tag team match of Las Garza consisting of Angel and Berto with Santos Escobar. So the dude with the shit on his chest is Angel or Berto. It's one of those guys. We'll find out by the end of this.
This is a bit much here, you know? Like, these guys, I don't want to see any of them. Do you?
You know, no. And instead of reading through the whole fucking thing of the match here, we're just going to skip to the end here. There was some cool moves in this. Ray hit a adios amigo on Berto, which was pretty cool, and he hit him with a splash to the outside. Andrade finished Berto with the message to get the pin, and then they won. And then we move on to the post-match segment, and then we'll get TJ's opinion on everything that I skipped if he wants to talk about it. But I think he wants to talk about it as much as I do. Santos enters the ring furious with Berto. Berto's the one that's got the shit on his chest. We just figured it out. All right. Yeah. So Berto's the chest guy. He begins yelling and getting in Berto's face. And Berto is not cool with that. He slaps his hand away. They have a little stare down. And then they leave the ring. And my God, thank God that's over. What does TJ think about all that?
I don't think too much about it. You know, it's not to say that these guys aren't good in the ring, but it's like there's no connection with me, and I don't think there's going to be a connection with anybody. And I know that they're really trying to do the whole AAA and Mexico thing, and good for them. And I hope that these guys are eventually involved in segments that are something that builds up to a match that I want to see, but we're not there yet. And I think we're far away from that. And we got the in-ring promo next with John Cena. You know, this was all right. I don't know. Cena's fucking return. It's not hitting home with me. But
nope.
We got John Cena's music hitting. He comes out. 17-time champ makes his entrance to a mixed reaction. He stops the music and asks the announcer Nash to reintroduce him with more energy. As Nash gives the introduction, a fan throws a bottle in the ring. Cena grabs it and looks at it in disgust, shakes his head, and lets Nash finish the intro. Cena takes the mic as the crowd boos loudly. Cena's message: childhood ends at Backlash. Cena says tomorrow your childhood dies. He claims the fans lash out because they know how much Backlash matters. He claims Randy Orton isn't here tonight because he's smart. He's home in St. Louis preparing. Cena reflects on their history. The first match almost 25 years ago. Nearly 100 matches together. 31 championships combined. The two biggest names in the Ruthless Aggression era. Cena says for fans aged 12 to 55, you either choose Cena or Orton. In the Backlash, you get to choose one last time. He says that even for kids aged 3 to 11, their childhood ends too. He vows to prove that life isn't fair and that Orton is a liar, especially to himself. So
before we go on to this next part, I didn't hate this promo so far. You know, I kind of liked him running everything down and how many accolades that they have combined and all of that stuff, and then the telling the kids 3 to 11 that even their child ends too was good. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
he's still robotic in his heel promo.
And I don't know. Again, I'm not meaning to try to just shit on everything. It's just like, you know, this is the last year of John Cena, and it's I don't know. It just feels like he's like right back to weekly television John.
Pretty much.
But
anyway, continue on for us.
Well, hustle, loyalty, and respect redefined. Hustle, Cena says that Orton only has his job due to his family name. He was never held accountable, and that the greatest wasted potential. Cena calls himself the GOAT because he is hustle. Loyalty. Orton thinks showing up is loyalty, but Cena says that's just cashing a check. He calls Orton a lazy boy, not dependable for anything. Cena claims loyalty defines him, not Orton. Respect. Cena says the fans don't respect him, and Orton has to beg for it. He mocks Orton's lineage, saying the only thing Orton Sr. is known for is banging up Orton's mom. And he says that Orton only became famous by riding Cena's coattails. Orton called himself a legend killer, but only took out fading stars. Cena calls tomorrow. Orton kills the legends of Randy Orton. Final words, physical confrontation. Cena says Orton will be like his 2006 drug test, a failure. He calls himself the last real champion, the embodiment of hustle, loyalty, and respect. Cena raises the title in the air. Suddenly, a man in a black hoodie jumps in and goes for an RKO. Cena counters and hits the attitude adjustment. The real Randy Orton attacks from behind, and Cena hits Cena with the RKO. Orton raises the undisputed WWE Championship as the music hits or plays, and we go to the air. It wasn't a bad segment overall. Just kind of mainly talking about how Cena was just kind of like, it was like he's going through the motions, but it was cool. They did the little like double guy and then had Randy come out afterwards, and the line about him banging up his mom and the failed drug test wasn't bad. They're trying.
Yeah, that was better parts of the promo. You know, they definitely, these are guys that know what they're doing, and they hit all the spots that they needed to, even if this wasn't great. You know, it was good or average, or maybe even slightly above average. The mystery guy actually was Sean Spears. I had read, so good for Sean getting in there and doing some stuff beyond NXT. Even if he, they trust you enough to go out there and not fuck something up with two of the top guys in the company. So
I wasn't 100% sober last night, but I believe that I thought that it was Sean Spears. I may have said something to Cora. I'll have to ask her.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. But
so that was the end of SmackDown.
Yeah, overall, it was a pretty forgettable show.
And then we'll be moving on to the wonderful show that we watched last night, the WWE Backlash from May 10th, 2025. We are less than 24 hours removed from it, probably like 16, 18, something like that. I don't know. I don't instantly know the math. But anyway, the attendance was pretty good. They had 17,057, and they were set up for 17,136. It said that available tickets as of an hour before showtime were 79. So it was a potential show sellout. Who knows if those last 79
they
tickets
had to
sold or
shell
not?
out. I can promise you that.
They did shell out to buy those tickets. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, they had to shell out that fucking hard-earned money.
Yeah, some of those tickets are expensive, and it was at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. And I'm gonna have TJ lead us into this first match here, which is the part that TJ is going to talk about.
The crowd was pretty hot all night.
Yep.
It was some good stuff. LA Knight came out first, and he got a pretty big pop when he came out. They were doing that little like DBA meter or whatever. I thought they were just doing that for Ripley, but they're busting it out for other people, and his hit 110 pretty quick. I feel like it even went to 114 for a second. If that thing's
concert
real,
level,
yeah, that's pretty cool. But I mean, is that the crowd reaction or just like the music that they're playing that loud, or I guess both?
Probably a combination of both.
But the bell
they're like, oh shit, the meter's not going high enough. Crank up the volume slider. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
The bell rings and LA Knight and Jacob Fatu immediately square off while Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest reignite the WrestleMania rivalry at ringside. Knight gains early momentum with a neckbreaker on Fatu and suplexes the others, but Fatu shrugs off offense and overpowers him until Priest and Knight team up to ram Fatu shoulder first into the post. You figure that they'd end up doing that to him, to kind of making it seem like he had to be overpowered to even for them to even stand a chance. But McIntyre returns and suplexes Knight and Priest around, hitting a series of neckbreakers on all opponents. Fatu tries to intervene but eats a neckbreaker too. McIntyre goes for the Claymore on Fatu, but Knight cuts him off with the clothesline. Fatu clears Knight and floors Priest. Damian Priest lands a top rope Hurricane Rana on Fatu and hits a flatliner on Knight and an old school rope walk crossbody on McIntyre. He dominates until Fatu crushes him with a Samoan drop on the barricade. Fatu and McIntyre share a heated moment in the ring, trading strikes until Fatu wins out with a Samoan drop and running hip attack. McIntyre gets laid out. Fatu climbs the ropes and gets suplexed by McIntyre, landing on top of LA Knight. Jacob Fatu pops up and hits McIntyre with another hip attack before hitting a suicide dive on Priest. Jacob Fatu hits McIntyre with a swanton bomb. Knight follows with a blunt force trauma on Fatu. Priest hits Knight with a South of the Heaven. McIntyre claymores Priest, who collapses onto Knight, and McIntyre breaks up the near fall with at the last second. McIntyre hits a future sock DDT on Fatu. Knight counters one, but eventually eats a claymore. Priest pulls the referee out at 2, engaging McIntyre. They brawl violently into the crowd and eventually crash to the tables off a crate via South of Heaven. Knight and
That was a
Fatu.
crazy spot, and Drew hit his head on the floor pretty hard there.
Yeah, people were worried about him. He's okay, though. Knight and Fatu go at it. Knight lays Fatu on the table and climbs to attack until Solo Sikoa pulls Fatu away. As Knight confronts Sikoa, Jeff Cobb emerges from the crowd and blindsides Knight, smashing him into the barricade and ring post. It's kind of crazy. I thought Rhino showed up for the second wrestling show this week, huh?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually made a note about that. And
did you see they made a meme of that? It wasn't just us that thought that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's
but no,
to it.
No, tell me.
No, just saying that the Rhino meme.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I have to show.
I like how we're saying it, and then it's a thing. Yeah, we'll have to see that. And but yeah, I saw the guy's name was Jeff Cobb, and I was immediately like, well, this is an easy nickname, Jeff Slob.
Well, corn on the cob. But Cobb throws Knight into the ring. Fatu looks conflicted, hesitating briefly before hitting Knight with a running hip attack and a double jump moonsault. Fatu hits a double jump moonsault on LA Knight after interference from Solo Sikoa and Jeff Cobb.
Jeff Slob.
Yep. I don't know. It was an okay match. It's gonna end up being a Solo versus Fatu real soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty good match. The crowd was really into it.
Probably by Money in the Bank, or if not Money in the Bank, what's the next pay-per-view? Is that SummerSlam or SummerSlam?
I'm not sure. I think they have one in between that for sure, right?
Oh yeah, the Clash in Paris or whatever it is.
And they're gonna end up having the Saudi show at some point too.
Oh yeah, no, it's in Perth, Australia this year. The I can't remember what it's called. Crown Jewel.
But yeah, this like I said, it was a good match, but not as good as the next match. The next match was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match too. Like average. If we were grading, I mean, they on like a A to F scale, they'd get like a C. Like we said earlier, in the SmackDown part, LA Knight's getting huge reactions. He probably got the biggest reaction of all four of those men.
Might have got the best reactions in the night.
Yeah, potentially. And then, so we go into the Women's Intercontinental Championship match of Lyra Valkyria versus the man Becky Lynch. And this match wasn't bad. This marks the first time that the Women's Intercontinental Championship has been defended on a live event. It hasn't been around that long yet, a couple months or whatever. Becky Lynch gains early control with a shoulder tackle and trash talk. Valkyria responds with chain wrestling and into a pendulum submission, followed by a surfboard stretch, the Daniel Bryan move, and a Northern Lights suplex for 2. Valkyria hits a wrecking ball drop kick and gains controls the pace until Lynch rips her off the top rope and brutalizes her on the mat, bleeding from the left elbow. I was trying to figure out what point she got that little thing on her elbow there, but I couldn't pinpoint it exactly watching back here this morning. Lynch targets Valkyria's head and back, delivering a Bexploder and a baseball slide before driving her into the barricade and ring post. Lynch yells at Valkyria's fiance before rolling her in for a near fall. And when we were watching that and we saw that guy, and Brandon was watching it with us, he's like, and I must have missed the part where they said that was her fiance. That gives us, I'm not hating on the guy, but him being with her gives all of us some hope. And
looks like he was playing some Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, the crowd begins to chant for Becky as she taunts Valkyria, but Valkyria rallies with a fisherman suplex and a step-up enziguri and a gut-wrench sit-out powerbomb for a close near fall. The powerbomb was pretty nice there. Lynch fends off a superplex, but is brought down hard by a delayed one. Valkyria nearly scores the win. Becky tries to cheat with the bottom rope during a pin, but gets caught. That was a nice little heel touch there. Valkyria avoids the manhandle slam and connects with a diving leg drop to the neck and a second rope moonsault for another near fall. I don't know why people keep doing these top rope moonsaults. You guys see how Matt Hardy walks now. Do you want to walk like Matt Hardy? Stop doing top rope fucking leg drops. Lynch gets her knees up for the moonsault, leading to both women trading submissions. Valkyria briefly applies a cross arm breaker, but Lynch transitions into the disarm her. Valkyria rolls through a manhandle slam and then kicks out on one clean from Becky Lynch. Becky grabs a chair, but the referee intervenes during the distraction. Becky exposes the top turnbuckle. This is a callback to stuff TJ and I were talking about before. And Valkyria counters the turnbuckle spot with a German suplex and spin kick, followed by a second rope moonsault for 2. She hits the Nightwing, but a delayed count gets only 2 because the referee was paying attention to the mess with turnbuckle. Lynch avoids a second Nightwing and tries for a manhandle slam. Valkyria rolls her up. Becky thumbs her in the eye and tries to steal it with a roll-up. But Valkyria reverses and secures the pin. The finish is Valkyria wins by pinfall to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Furious Becky Lynch immediately attacks Valkyria as the bell's ringing, hammering her with forearms. Lynch locks in the disarm her and refuses to let go until officials storm the ring and pry her off. Valkyria clutches her face and arm in pain as she tries to recover. Lynch storms to the back, but tries to charge the ring, only to be cut off by Jason Jordan. As the dust settles, a battered but defiant Lyra Valkyria raises to her feet and holds up the championship to a strong ovation. And the match is over. What did you think about all that, TJ?
I mean, it was a really good match.
It was.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on it at all, but they looked up. It was great, Not going to point out anything specifically. It's just overall, both women sold really well, laid in everything really well. It looked like a legitimate fight. Valkyria is probably going to be the future of this division, man. She's good, man.
She got to get rid of the bird shit when she's making her entrance.
When she came out, her entrance, she was like doing like a Y pose or whatever, like with the wing. She had wing sleeves, and her face looked like she was like, "Oh, fuck this." She did not look into it at all. But
well, maybe at some point they'll let her stop doing it. But yeah, it was a good match. Michael Cole mentioned at one point in the match that he thought that Lyra might have a broken nose. Looked like she might have got kicked in the face. She had a little bit of a bloody nose and was holding it at one point, but I don't know.
You can work with one of those.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, take us into the next one, TJ.
Intercontinental Championship match with Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. The referee was Arango.
I don't know why I keep putting the referee on there. That's not information that nobody gives a fuck about that unless it's like Charles Robinson. Nobody cares.
Why I cared? I love that guy. He's the best. But the crowd rings. The bell
Eddie
rings.
Oregano or whatever the fuck his name is.
The bell rings and Mysterio starts with a shove, but Penta answers with a dropkick and a quick hurricanrana. Mysterio hits a running hurricanrana of his own before eating a stiff kick and a backstabber from Penta for 2. Penta climbs the ropes, gets crotched by Mysterio, who follows with a suicide dive into a DDT at ringside. That was pretty good.
That was a super nice move. Super nice.
Yeah, Mysterio controls the match briefly, hitting a slingshot senton and locking in a rear chin lock after a series of stomps and strikes. Penta breaks out a reverse sling blade. Mysterio rolls out, but Penta climbs the ring post and launches out with the crossbody to the floor. Mysterio attempts the Three Amigos, but he's cut off. He tries a 619. Penta counters into a crucifix for 2. Mysterio rebounds with an Oblivion for a near fall and tries a monkey flip, but Penta boots him away and hits a Mexican Destroyer on the apron. That also looked pretty good.
Sweet move, yeah. It looks devastating when he does it.
Yeah, Carlito runs down and distracts the referee. Finn Balor and JD McDonough attempt to interfere, but delay too long. The referee sees them and ejects them before he can lay a hand on Penta. It was funny how they set that up.
Yeah. I was hoping that we were going to get a pause into that real quick. Yeah, how he was acting. JD was holding him, and Finn was acting like he was going to hit him, and then he was like, "Oh, I should go get a chair," and he took longer on purpose. It's setting him up for something for later.
Yeah, they're eventually going to turn on each other somehow. That's going to happen. bet you he's going to blame him on Raw tomorrow or something like that. But yeah, after the ejection, Penta takes him out with a top con helo, narrowly missing Balor. Back in the ring, Penta super kicks Mysterio, but Balor distracts the referee again. And then El Grande Americano, Cole calls him Chad Gable, appears and headbutts
Hell yeah,
Penta,
he did.
Yeah, with a loaded mask. While the referee's distracted, Mysterio climbs the ropes and hits a frog splash as the crowd erupts. The finish is Mysterio hits him with the frog splash, like we said, pins him. Dirty Dominic Mysterio wins, retains, and pretty good match. Not bad. There's a lot of interference, like some typical heel Judgment Day type match, but I'm not shitting on it. It was good.
Yeah. I thought the in-ring was good. Oh, he just hit the Mexican Destroyer just now. I've got Backlash on TV.
He just hit him with the drop kick.
Yeah, that looked pretty good. But yeah, it was a good match. Dom's getting better.
Yeah.
The crowd seemed to be getting behind him. I mean, it's not like they were booing Penta. They were cheering both of these guys. And I think that we're finally reaching critical mass of Dom being a heel to where, like, he's so good at being a heel that people are starting to like and respect his work. You know, a la The Rock. Not that we're saying he's as good as The Rock, but The Rock's heel work became so good that eventually, you know, people were cheering him even as a bad guy. Same kind of idea.
Any of the second generation guys, especially these days, the younger ones are getting good reactions. You got the name built in. And all these guys like to act like they're smart fans, which most of them are if you're spending money and going to the shows and stuff. So they're clued into what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, these tickets, for the most part, outside of the nosebleeds, are hundreds of dollars now. So, you know, these people know what's going on.
But overall, a good match. And we'll jump into the next one here.
Oh, well, yeah. Let's do that. So we got Pat McAfee versus the ring general, Gunther. And, boy, I have pretty low expectations going into this. No offense to either one of these guys. It's just, you know, one's not really a wrestler and one is a really good wrestler. So, you know, it could go either way here, and we'll let you guys know how it goes. So the crowd chants, "You tapped out," towards Gunther as the two lock up. Gunther overpowers McAfee early, shoving him off and slapping him in the back of the head. McAfee avoids chops. I don't know how I got enjoys out of avoids there. Avoids. I can't talk. Avoids a chop and gets the crowd behind him with quick footwork, but Gunther dominates him with a huge chop that drops him cold. McAfee fires up with punches and a kip up, but Gunther halts the momentum with a devastating chop and a methodical beatdown, including kicks to the spine and a German suplex. Michael Cole roots for McAfee on commentary while Gunther mocks him and even invites Cole into the ring. McAfee rallies, landing a moonsault that was actually pretty nice. And Gunther dodges it, but McAfee landed on his feet, hence the part where I was saying it was pretty nice. And he follows up with a spine kick and a chest kick and a punt kick for a 2 count. Gunther no-sells the offense and powers back up. McAfee strikes him repeatedly, lands a super kick, but Gunther catches the leg and hits a power bomb. That was a Jey Uso-looking super kick there, so it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Interference and chaos. Gunther locks in a Boston Crab, forcing Cole to leave commentary and cheer for McAfee from the ring apron. I don't know that it forced him to, but okay. Gunther drags Cole into the ring and sets up for a powerbomb, but McAfee boots him in the face. Gunther responds with a brutal big boot to McAfee. McAfee rolls Gunther up for a close near fall. Gunther tries to suplex, but Michael Cole grabs Gunther's leg, leading to a dramatic near fall. Gunther fumes and crushes McAfee with a lariat before applying the superfold. McAfee fights up, nearly escape, but Gunther drags him back down and tightens the hold, and the referee checks on McAfee and calls it. The result is Gunther wins by referee stoppage after applying the sleeper hold. This was a better match than I expected. Hats off to McAfee for showing up. Dude has the worst WrestleMania record possibly on his catalog, and now he has a match that is better than some matches that you see on TV. What'd you think of all this, TJ?
I was sports entertained. You know,
yeah.
It was good. I liked it. It built a little bit. They were slow, but man, it really accomplished what it did. Gunther made him look like $1,000,000. I like the Michael Cole involvement. Everything in this just hit a fucking home run, and I actually liked it a lot. And are they turning him face?
Maybe, because Gunther did give him like a show of respect after the match.
He gave him
from
props.
the ramp, which was pretty cool.
No, he didn't do it from the ramp. He did it in the ring. And maybe he did it in the ramp too. But remember, he they would look like they were gonna shake hands, but instead he like nodded at him, gave him like a little bow.
That's right. Yeah,
but
it wasn't on the ramp. It was in the ring.
But yeah, I mean, it was good shit, man. I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
it
was one of those pleasant surprises.
They accomplished what they set out to do very well.
Yep.
But I'll go ahead and take us into this next one if you want.
Yeah, please do. And also, I'm understanding why the pay-per-view ended so early. The UFC one started at 10, so they wanted to make sure this was over and give people like 20 minutes to get ready for the UFC.
Yeah, I was watching both all night. But we got the undisputed WWE Championship with John Cena versus the Viper Randy Orton. Massive ovation for hometown hero Randy as he enters to his chance of his name. Cena offers a handshake early but pokes Orton in the eyes when he finally accepted. I like that. Orton returns the favor from Cena to the crowd. They trade lockups and shoulder tackles before Orton takes control, punches and stomps, and then drops a knee for a near fall. Cena fights back with a sleeper hold, which triggers a brief exchange of repeated hold reversals before Orton drops Cena with a back suplex. Cena hits his comeback, diving shoulders, back suplex powerbomb, and a 5-knuckle shuffle. He goes for the AA, but Orton counters with a clothesline and snap powerbomb. Cena counters the draping DDT into a roll-up and STF. Orton escapes and finally lands the draping DDT. Orton attempts the RKO, but Cena blocks it and delivers an attitude adjustment for a near fall. Orton hits a second RKO to counter for a diving shoulder block. Cena kicks out again after a second AA. Cena attempts a punt kick, but Orton dodges. Orton goes for an RKO. Cena shoves him to the referee, Chad Patton. Cena hits a third AA, but the referee's down. Cena grabs a championship belt, but eats an RKO outside. Another near fall. Outside, Cena shoves Orton into Patton, knocking the referee out cold. Cena attempts an AA through the table, but Orton counters with an AA of his own through the announce table. Orton rolls Cena back in and hits an RKO. Ref Eddie, our buddy from earlier, runs down. And,
Oregano
runs down, but Cena kicks out at 2. Cena tries to hit Orton with the title, but accidentally knocks out Oregano. Orton hits yet another RKO, but
that's his
Cena.
New name forever now.
Yeah,
I hope you don't mind, Eddie.
But there's no one to count. Officials rush in to check on the referees. Orton loses his temper and drops Nick Aldis, producer Shane Helms, Sean Davari, and Jamie Noble with RKOs, one after another to thunderous crowd response. Orton sets up a
cool to see Jamie Noble.
But R-Truth runs in to help Cena and gets an RKO too. Cena low blows Orton and hits him with the title belt and covers. The finish, Cena gets it with the low blow and the pin. Cena wins by pinfall to retain the United States, or not the United States, WWE United, undisputed WWE Championship. Man,
that's why you said United, because it said undisputed there. It just fucked you up.
Yeah. But the post-match segment, after a pause to recover and allow replays of the chaotic finish, John Cena grabs a microphone and tells the production crew to cut his music. Cena says he doesn't need music. He needs competition, and he doesn't need the crowds either. He tells St. Louis fans to drink it in because they're looking at the last real champion. Cena then climbs to the turnbuckle, holding the undisputed WWE Championship as high as the crowd rains booze down on him. The camera lingers on Cena posing with a smug expression as it goes off the air. Pretty good match. I liked it. Probably one of the better matches they've ever had. A lot of weird, goofy shit with the ref, but overall, really good match. Crowd was into it.
It's probably in their top 5, or at a minimum in their top 10 matches that Randy and John have had.
For sure.
I would hope at this stage in their career, with the
cool they could still do it,
experience that they have, that they would be able to do this. Yeah.
Cena isn't looking good sometimes, so it was nice that they were able to do a pretty solid match together. But they wrestled each other.
It's better than the Mania match. So. Yeah. They could probably wrestle each other in their sleep at this point. But so yeah, that was the pay-per-view. I don't know, like a A to F, what do you give it? I think like a B, maybe like a C minus, one of those two.
One thing, it's funny how they use R-Truth out there and everything, and then Orton, how he owes him anyway, and that's what ended up costing him. Like, and he looks over at R-Truth like, "What are you doing?" And that's kind of dumb, again making their faces look like idiots. But I mean, I guess you got to book this shit somehow to happen, right?
Right. You can't have a genius face all the time, otherwise the heel will never get any kind of heat.
Yeah. But overall, pretty decent little pay-per-view. It's nice having these be shorter. You don't get too burned out. We got enough wrestling going on in a week anyways. Just give us a good build-off and then something to go into Monday and next Friday with, and good stuff.
It was like an extended episode, like you and I talked about. It was like basically an extended episode of Raw that featured more in-ring action as opposed to having more promo action.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
All the matches were good. And then we got a little bit of, normally we're not going to cover press conference stuff unless like some kind of news comes out of it or anything. So there was a little bit of news last night at the press conference. Even made like Yahoo News and stuff like that this morning. So, this is like mainstream news apparently. So during the press conference, Triple H is surprises the press by inviting out the 17-time world champion John Cena. Cena whispered something into Triple H's ear. After listening, the game handed him the microphone, calling Cena the greatest of all time. Cena, speaking in a low monotone, sounded like one of his cryptic tweets. He said he wanted to take a step forward and address the media after what he called a significant night. The press anticipated a moment of introspection after Cena's controversial victory over Randy Orton. Cena promised to answer all the questions. The first question was about his longtime rival Randy Orton, but Cena never got to respond. Interruption by R-Truth. R-Truth bursts in, loudly looking for his childhood hero. Cena smirked without looking up as Truth congratulated him on his win. But when Truth mentioned people online Cena sucks and can't wrestle, the champ's demeanor instantly shifted. Cena warned Truth that he was crossing the line, and if he said one more thing, there would be consequences. And Truth, being Truth, kept talking, and then Cena gave him the attitude adjustment through the conference table and walked off without saying another word. What did you think? I'm sure you at least caught the highlight of that, right?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
So I guess they're going to do more with this. I mean, obviously they are, but
yeah,
it'll be funny if R-Truth turns heel with him or ends up being the guy to cost him later down the road. Like R-Truth disappears for a while, and in like the Cody Cena match at SummerSlam, R-Truth comes out and it's like the link to fuck it up.
Yeah. That would be pretty funny.
Yeah, cool that they're doing this little stuff, make you watch the other shit instead of just having a boring, nothing happened press conference with people jerking the wrestlers off in Triple H.
Yeah.
But we can jump into the next one if you want. We got the injury updates after Backlash. So during the Fatal 4-Way U.S. match at Backlash, Damon Priest hit Drew McIntyre with the South of Heaven off the equipment platform through 2 tables. According to a report from PW Insider, McIntyre's head missed the table and struck the floor hard during the fall. He was reportedly being evaluated by WWE medical staff immediately afterwards. Later in the night, Triple H addressed McIntyre's condition in the post-show, saying that he was a little banged up but totally fine, which is good. You don't want anybody to get hurt. And no official word has been given on whether he'll miss any time or not. Damon Priest also suffered damage during the match. He reportedly had a tooth knocked out during the match, but continued competing without interruption. He'll be fine. They'll give him a better tooth. One better than he had before. Right?
Right. That shit hurts, though.
Yeah. But
so good on him for gritting it out.
I mean, what other option do you have? That you gotta do it, right?
Yeah, but, not a whole lot of choices.
During her women's Intercontinental Championship defense against Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria appeared to have suffered a potential nose injury after taking a brutal kick square to the face. Valkyria immediately cuts her face, visibly in pain and bleeding. On commentary, Cole speculated whether she might have suffered a broken nose. Despite the injury, she continued and retained the title, but was viciously attacked post-match by Lynch. Further targeting the face and arm. WWE hasn't issued official medical update as of yet. And then today, PW Insider, sorry, before we jump into that, but Yeah, overall, nobody's probably hurt too much. You're gonna be a little bit banged up after these matches, and everybody should be good to go
Yeah.
pretty soon, at max. Maybe a week or something for some of them, and
Yeah, unless Lara actually has a broken nose,
they'll
that'll
just
take
have
a
her out there
while.
with
But
the
I mean,
face mask.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, overall, we'll move on from the news with Backlash, and why don't you take us into what happened today, Dave?
Well, right when TJ and I were going to record this episode, we TJ checked the news, and there was some breaking news today. PWI Insider report, and this is not good news, by the way, folks. If you were expecting something good, PWI Insider reports that legendary wrestler, Hardcore Hall of Fame inductee Sabu passed away at the age of 60, and this is a real bummer. Before we get into what all that he has done and known for, this is not the kind of news that we like to have to give. You hope that we have to talk about this kind of stuff as little as possible. So everybody here at Overmark sends their condolences to Sabu's loved ones, and sorry to hear about that. That sucks, man. Yeah. You got anything to add into there, TJ, before we go into some of the Sabu things?
I don't have a long history of watching Sabu. I've seen him here and there, and it stinks. You don't like to see that at all, and it's kind of nuts because he just recently had a match last month. And we'll get into that.
A couple weeks ago.
It just sucks. Taken too early, and I feel bad for him, for his family, and I hope everybody's able to remember him in the best light possible, and just my thoughts will be with him and his family.
Yeah, thanks for all of the rad wrestling memories, because there was a lot of them.
Yeah, that guy was
I'm sure
nuts.
that you remember on obviously we'll get into where he was and everything, but there was an episode of WWE Raw or WWF Raw back in the day that they ECW had invaded, and Sabu jumped off of the Raw R onto some guys. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a pretty nuts time.
But we'll go over a little bit of the history, where all Sabu worked. For those of you that may not be familiar with him, we're not going to take a super long time on this. Obviously, ECW is the promotion that he was the most associated with. He held the ECW World Heavyweight Championship twice. He held the ECW World Television title and the tag team titles 3 times, once with Taz, 2 with RVD. And he helped define the hardcore style that ECW became famous for. That's kind of an understatement. He probably was the dude doing the craziest shit out of any, besides like New Jack.
When you saw
like him and New Jack
of ECW, that was the guy that you would see more than anybody, I feel like.
Yep, it'd be like him, New Jack, and RVD, and then whatever other dudes.
I didn't have access to his shit all the time, so the most I saw was tapes here and there, and
yeah.
He pretty wild, and the tapes were terrible quality.
There was no YouTube back then. And I was fortunate enough that ECW had a TV deal down here in Florida with the Sun Sports Network when I was a kid. So on Saturday nights at like 2:00 in the morning, I would have my alarm set to wake me up at like 1:50 so I could be up 10 minutes before ECW started, so I could watch it for an hour and then go back to bed. That was pretty cool. But he wrestled in the 90s in New Japan. He brought his high-flying hardcore style to the Japanese audiences over there, and they ate that shit up. And he wrestled in FMW, which a lot of people that are wrestling fans that really are into Japanese wrestling or like wrestling history, you'll remember FMW. He wrestled Anita over there in a bunch of matches. Different kinds of hardcore matches. Onita's the same guy that was doing the exploding ring match with Terry Funk. For people that may not remember him, that might jog your memories. He was in WCW for a real short time. I think we saw him on 1 or 2 episodes of Nitro. He wrestled Alex Wright at the Fall Brawl and actually won the match, but they ended up overturning the decision after the match because of some of the moves that he used were deemed to be illegal moves by WCW. Like, you weren't allowed to come off the top rope and some other dumb shit that they had at the time that were just like antiquated rules that they kind of phased out relatively quickly. He's one-time NWA champion in 2000. Hadn't really know about that until we did the research for this. He had a short run in the WWE's version of ECW for about a year, from 2006 to 2007. And then when they did the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-views, he was involved in those. This dude worked everywhere. If there was a modern wrestling organization, he was pretty much at it. He short stint in Ring of Honor in the mid-2000s. He appeared for AEW in 2023 as part of Adam Cole's storyline against Chris Jericho and served as a special enforcer for their match at Double or Nothing.
2023.
That was one of Jericho's better matches. What did I say, 2003?
It didn't have it listed.
Oh, okay. But that was, like I was saying, that was one of Jericho's better matches and feuds, and it was cool that Sabu was involved in that. And then he kind of finished up his career more recently in Game Changer Wrestling. And those guys have been doing some pretty good stuff. They're still considered an indie promotion. I do think that they finally have a TV deal, but I don't think it's a very big one.
Their production's pretty good for an indie.
But you probably, and when I say you, I just mean folks in general, probably have heard of GCW, at least at a minimum, if you're a wrestling fan and you fuck around on the internet at all. He was, wrestled sporadically there, and he had his retirement match, like TJ was saying earlier, just a few weeks ago, April 18th, 2025. So less than a month ago, he had his match against Joey Janela at GCW's Joey Janela's Spring Break 9 event. He faced off. Oh man, I didn't actually read this before we got in it. He faced off with Janela in a no rope barbed wire match. Holy shit! 60-year-old man out there doing a no rope barbed wire match, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that didn't have anything to do with this. It probably didn't. I'm sure he was fine. But anyway, the match was a brutal affair featuring chairs, tables, and barbed wire, reminiscent of Sabu's prime ECW days. After the match, Janela showed respect to the hardcore icon, and the crowd gave Sabu a standing ovation. He did win this match, by the way. It's not noted on there. This marked the end of an era for one of the most influential figures in extreme wrestling history. I think that's a good way to put it. It was cool that he got to have a nice send-off match that was something that he could be proud of and get a good ovation on the way out. Not everybody gets that. You got anything to add? Any opinions or anything?
Just gone too soon. He's a polarizing figure. I'll never forget the grainy tapes I watched of him as a kid, and I watched his thing in AEW. I didn't see his most recent match, but he will be missed. Condolences to his family, and he will be remembered. And
get out there and
check out his work.
I'm sure he's got a pro wrestling tees shop, things of that nature. Get out there, buy up all his merch that you can. Support his family, give him some love, and then
going from there. Though,
why don't you tell us what? Go ahead.
We can go ahead and head on to getting on out of here, and we're going to have the next episode, which is going to be Tuesday, the day after Raw. We'll hit you with the recording, and we'll slap it up that night, Tuesday night. Check out our social medias at OverMark ENT. It's a big four, like we said: Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and Twitter. We appreciate you for listening. You guys are Overmaniacs, and I'm TJ, and we got Dave here, and we appreciate you.
Hell yeah, we do. Love you guys. We'll see y'all next episode.
Have a good night, day, wherever you're doing, but take it easy, guys.
Later.